Good morning, class. So before you take your seat, let's begin with a short prayer. Mr. Maratas, can you lead the prayer in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? Good morning, class. So I hope you're doing fine, because I'm doing fine. So before you take your seat, kindly pick up some trashes under your seats. Thank you. Okay, sit down. So now let's check your attendance. Avenido, Baratas, Garcia, Milano, Zafra. Very good! All of you got perfect attendance. So before we jump into a new lesson, let's take a quick trip down memory lane and review the types of verbs that we've discussed so far. Let's see who remembers. Mr. Baratas? That's right! It's regular and irregular verbs. So now, who can tell me what irregular verbs are? Mr. Torrefil? Correct! Regular verbs follow a pattern where we change them into the past tense, usually by adding ed. For example, the word walk into walked. And what about irregular verbs? Enhance? Okay, Miss Cañete. Exactly. Irregular verbs don't follow that pattern. They change in an unpredictable ways, like the word go to went, or eat to ate. Alright, that's a quick recap of the different types of verbs we've learned so far. So now, I'll show you a few pictures I want you to observe closely and tell me what you think is happening in each one. So for this picture, what do you see? Yes, the person in the picture is running, an action that we can physically observe. Now, for the second one, what do you see in the picture? What do you think is the person is doing or feeling? Miss Avenido? Precisely. So the second picture and the person in the picture is feeling love, an action that expresses our mental states, our emotions, our feelings. So now that you learned what the difference between the two, so let's have a short activity. So I want you to observe each picture and tell me what kind of verbs they portray. Whether it's a verb that shows action or a verb that shows feelings or emotions. And after that, you will put them into our worksheet table. So now I will divide you into 3 groups. This game will be called Find Me activity. So find as many words that you can describe or what's happening in this picture. And then try to tell if the verb is showing something we can see like running, jumping, or something you can only feel or think about like loving. So you have 5 minutes to finish, okay? Done. So let's share. Group 1. What verbs did you find? That's right. Laughing and shout is correct. Laughing and shout. How about group 2? What verbs did you find? Thinking and love? Your answers are correct. Thinking and love. And lastly, group 3, what verbs did you find? Crying and calm. So this is supposed to be crying and calm. This close one, but the closest answer are crying and content. Crying and content. So now that you finish our activity, will give yourself a round of applause. So based on the activity, what do you think is our topic for today? Mr. Gunayan? That's right. Our topic for today is all about stative and active. verb. So on this left side, this is an example of stative verbs. And in this side, this is an example of active verbs. But before we dig deeper into our discussion, here are our objectives. So our objectives for today, at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to, please read everyone, identify active and stative verbs. The second one, use of active and stative verbs correctly in both writing and speaking. And the last one, appreciate the verb choice on sentence meaning and tone. So which type of verb, active or stative, did you find more often? So most of the pictures shown are active verbs because many pictures showed actions that we can see like crying or laughing. Were there any pictures that were hard to describe with just action? And why? Yes, some pictures show love content which is hard to describe with action verbs or just simply actions because feelings and thoughts are not visible actions. They're internal, they're inside us. So how do stative verbs help express things we cannot see? Miss Milano? Impressive. Stative verbs describe emotions or thoughts and conditions that help us talk about things that are real but not visible. Like loving someone, knowing something, or believing in an idea. So now let's define together the active verb and the stative verb. Active verb shows action or processes that involves movement or change. An action that we can see and physically observe. For example, the word write. Now let's make it into a sentence using active verb. Write. She writes in her journal every night. Now for the word jump, I want you to explain and give me an example of an active verb using the word jump. Mr. Jaime, correct. The cat jumped over the fence. Now that you understand active verbs, do you have any clarifications before we proceed to stative verbs? Okay, none so far. So for stative verbs, it describes a state of being conditioned or mental state that is static and doesn't involve an action. In simpler terms, it's the way we feel and how we express our feelings and emotions. Example for stative verb using the word know. I know the world is big and round. So that is an example of stative verb. So for the word believe, give me an example of stative verb using the word believe. Mr. Torino, outstanding. As Mr. Torino said, he believes in hard work and honesty. So do you all understand the active and stative verbs? What? Their differences? Great question. In grammatical usage, active verbs often use continuous or progressive tense. For example, running or walking, while stative verbs typically used in simple tenses and are not commonly used in continuous forms. For example, knows and not is knowing. So what if we combine the active verb and stative verb? Let's say the word write and know. How would that turn out? So the word know and write should be she knows the answer and is writing it. So why is active and stative verbs important? Miss Goria? Impressive! Because understanding verb types allow us to communicate with precision and help us express both actions and internal experiences effectively. So now that you have understood the active verbs and stative verbs, let's have a short activity. So based on the verbs that you find in our Find Me activity, I want you to write 3 sentences using 1 sentences with active verbs and 1 sentence with stative verbs, and lastly would be one sentence rather using both types of verbs. So the verb that you will use is the verb that you will find in our Find Me activity. So you have 15 minutes to finish your work. Okay, time's up. Done. Pass your paper here in front because I'll be the one to check that for the next meeting. So now, let's assess what you've learned. So let's do a short quiz. So I want you to get a 1/2 crosswise sheet of paper and answer this following. I know it will be easy for you because now you understand our topic. So in a 1/2 crosswise of paper, underline the verb in each sentences and label if it's active or stative. So you have 10 minutes to finish. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, time's up. Exchange your paper with your seatmates. So now, let's go over with the answers. Number 1, please read. They jump over the fence. What do you think is the verb? That's right. So the verb in the sentence is the word jump. Is jump an active or a stative? That's right. It is an active verb. So for number 2, Mr. Torino, kindly read. She hates spiders, snakes, and frogs. Where do you think is the verb? Yes, the word hates. But the hate word, is it an active or a stative verb? That's right, a stative verb. Since it expresses her emotions that she hates spiders, snakes, and frogs. Number 3, he understands her clearly. Correct. So the verb is understand, and understand is a stative verb. Number 4, I plan for the future. What do you think is the answer? That's right. It's also an active verb. And lastly, Joshua believes in ghosts. What do you think is the answer? Miss Abinido, that's right. So believe is the verb which is a stative verb. So who got the perfect score? Wow! All of you got a perfect score. Give yourself a round of applause. So now for your assignment, in a yellow pad of paper, write a short reflection, 5 to 7 sentences long, answering the following questions. How do active and stative verbs help you express yourself better when writing or speaking? And why is it important to understand the difference between them? So the deadline of this would be in our next meeting. So do you have any clarification about our assignment? Okay, none so far. So to wrap up our discussion, I have here quote where we should reflect. To end, let's reflect on this quote by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. She said that life is a verb, not a noun. So who would like to share their insights with this quote? Okay, Miss Cañete. Impressive! As Miss Cañete said, life is about doing things, learning, growing, and making a difference. We shouldn't just sit still. We should live actively. That's right. A noun is just a label. label, but a verb, shows movement. Keep moving forward and live your best life. Great reflection, class. Give yourself a round of applause. Woo! But remember, active stative verbs help us express both actions and our emotions. So knowing when and how to use them makes your writing and speaking more powerful. Thank you, class. You are amazing today. Class dismissed.
Nothing to be said.